Hello, welcome to Sip's Wood Chips. My name is Sip Mendes, and I want to take a few minutes and thank everybody that's been watching these videos, especially those that subscribe, and especially those that leave comments. One of the rewards of actually doing this is actually reading the comments and seeing what you guys have to say. And you ladies, 10% of my subscribers are women, so I appreciate you watching. The most difficult part of making these videos is what I'm doing right now. That is talking to the camera. It's very, very difficult for me to do that. That's why in most scenes you only see my hands. And some people can do it, and I'm just not one of those. Okay. This is my project for this week. It's a small platter, and it's made of striped wood. Its parts are walnut, maple, looks like oak, some laminated veneers, and a stripe of Paduke. So keep watching and I'll show you how I made this. My daughter brings these to me from San Francisco Bay Area. Oakland is probably where she got it. And what these are pieces that weren't good enough for making cutting boards. And so she brought them to me. This was actually two separate stripes, and I glued them together because they were only about 5 inches wide each. So this is what they call 5/4. It's 1.25 inches thick. That would be probably about 6 centimeters, almost 6 centimeters thick. And I went ahead and cut it on the bandsaw to help. That way it cuts down on my roughing. Before I put it on the lathe, or I mount it, I'm going to knock off some of these heavy pieces of glue because when I start working on it, it needs to lay flat, and right now it wobbles. So this is a 3/4 inch chisel, and I'm just going to hold it with my palm of my hand and break off some of this glue. And I'm going to avoid digging deep into it. And I can't get it all off, and if I try to put it on my sander, it'll just come up my sanding belt. So I just want to get whatever I can off of here. The other side I can chew up and remove the glue on the wood lathe. So here's my blank. It's ready to go. And I drilled a hole with a Forstner bit. And it has to be a Forstner bit, so it's got a nice flat bottom in it. And this one is 2 1/8 inches in diameter. That's about 53 millimeters. And it's a little bit over 1/8 of an inch deep. That's about 3 millimeters deep. Okay, so I'll go ahead and mount that on here. And it will be in expansion mode. And because it's a square bottom hole, I cannot put a whole lot of pressure on the outside. Okay. I'm going to spin it at 250 RPMs. And that's not too bad. Let's go ahead and move it up to 500 and see what it looks like. That's 500. It's a little out of balance, mostly on the outside edge. And let me set up my tool rest, and then we can get started turning it. And as you can see, there's still a whole lot of glue on here. So I'm going to start by first rounding the outside circumference. So I'm going to start with a 1/2 inch bowl gouge. I have my apron on, and I have my face shield. I'm going to use very light cuts because I don't want to break it loose from the chuck. It's okay. And so this is going to be mostly glue. That helped. Okay, so this is actually going to be the bottom of my platter, and what I want to do is I want to go ahead and mark where I'm going to put my recess for my chuck, and it's about 52 millimeters is the diameter I want. And so I'm going to start up, and I'm only going to touch one side, make a little mark, and compare it to the other side. And where they both agree, then I'll make a deeper mark. Okay. And then with my pencil, I'll go ahead and mark that. It should be right about there. Start with the parting tool. And I actually need to cut it almost 1/4 of an inch deep. I'm going to cut a little point there, so if I have to reverse mount it, I'll be able to know where the center is. Okay. I haven't cut my dovetail yet, so I'm going to reduce this size, make the foot. This is going to be a platter, so it will have a foot that extends pretty far out. The rim of the foot, the high part of the foot, it should be out here somewhere. So, start with a 1/2 inch round nose. With my straight skew, I'll cut the dovetail. Okay, so I have it reversed, and I've gone over it a couple of times with the bowl gouge. And my camera shut off. I don't know exactly why. Maybe I never actually started recording. But I've taken a little bit off, and it's not coming off very well. I got some really low spots here that I'm not getting into. Removed some of the glue. Still got a lot of glue here, so I'm going to go ahead and use my 3/4 inch round nose and see if it helps any. That seems to work a little bit better. See if I can do it with my bowl chisel. Well, that reduced the thickness about a 1/4 inch, maybe more. This is the foot in here, and then I need to turn all the way up to the foot, thin this out, and maybe round it off. So I'm going to continue working on the back side of this platter. I want to get a more defined foot on it. Okay, that looks pretty good. I can get to the back to this side to sand pretty easily, so go ahead and start hollowing out the top side. So I'm going to hollow this out, try to keep it flat, and have a little bit of a lip, a thin lip on the outer edge. pretty good. But we still need to get deeper. Yeah, that's getting better. It's been a lot better. Okay. So that's looking good. Go ahead and clean this up a little bit. Smooth it out. Good scraping. Then I'll start sanding it. So using my power sander, I went ahead and sanded that, and it looks pretty good. I got rid of all of the ripples in it. I'm going to go ahead and give it a coat of sanding sealer, and then I'm going to sand it with 150. So I have my lacquer-based sanding sealer here, and I'm just going to give it a light coat, let it dry before I go over it with the 150. And this really brings out the colors. Also brings out the blemishes. You can see where I need to sand down. Here I have some grooves, I have some marks. I need to sand that out. Okay, I'll let that dry for about 30 minutes, maybe an hour, and then I'll start sanding it with 150. Now I'm going to apply a coat of polyurethane, satin finish, and see what the colors look like. And that really brings them out. It also brings out places that got little burns or catches. So, torn grain, I guess that's what that is. And so on the next sanding, we can concentrate on getting those out of there. Here's my platter. I've sanded it several times and given it about 4 coats of polyurethane. Let it dry in the sun, and it looks pretty good. Now what I want to do is finish up the foot, or the underside of the platter. And what I'm going to do is just build myself a friction drive. This is just a little piece of plastic foam, and I'm going to put that against my chuck. And this little nub that I intentionally left there, that's going to be the center. That's about 650. And make sure it's tight. Lock down the quill. Okay, because that recess is so deep, I'm going to have to thin this down quite a bit. And I'm going to use a parting tool just to finish up that edge. It was catched on me, so it makes some pretty deep cuts in here. I'll have to clean that up a little bit more and smooth that out. Okay, I'll go ahead and sand that and finish that up. And I'll do that offline. So here's the bottom of my platter. I cleaned up most of the bottom, sanded it, and I'm going to take off the little nub. And I'm going to try to take it off in several passes, because sometimes it'll go below the surface, because I'm never sure exactly which way the grain is running. So once I know which way the grain is running, I can get a little closer to it. And I'll just finish it with sandpaper, just sand it off. So, thank you so much for watching the video. Here's my finished platter. Turned out pretty good, I think. Really, the colors turned out nice. It's about 8.5 inches in diameter, which is about 21 centimeters. So if you have enjoyed this video, please click on like. If you're not a subscriber, click on subscribe. If you're not a member of YouTube, sign up for an account. It's quick, it's easy. That'll allow you to leave comments. And comments are perhaps the most important part of doing these videos. I want to hear what you have to say. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week, hopefully.